Hello, it's the Sinister Gambino here with a new stream. And in this stream I'm going to be going over the event week for this week for Grand Theft Auto Online. So starting off with the title, there's 3 times money RP on Stockpile, which is an adversary mode. More details kind of on that one later. And then for Message Spectator, 2 times money RP or free cargo, which is a business, so it's probably the best thing for the event week for making money. And 2 times RP, 2 times money and RP as well for the flight school, which is quite a random one in a sense. They don't really do flight school much. Yeah, I'll kind of discuss that one as well, of course, later. Talk more about the money opportunities later, of course, as I usually do. And then something really interesting going on for this event week is you can actually get a free ultralight, which I believe, like, with a trade price is 500,000, so you're really not saving that much. And even without a trade price, it's probably like 750,000. So especially if you don't have a trade price, it could definitely be really worth taking advantage of a free Nagasaki ultralight. And if you haven't got one before, of course, definitely take advantage of that. While it's not the most useful vehicle, as I will definitely go into later on, it's definitely nice to have, I would say. Oh, gee. Of course. RIP. Man, I don't crash a lot of times at all when riding the Mark 1 oppressor, dang it. I just hate riding the Mark 2 after the nerfs they've done to it. Oh, yikes, forgot to do that one. But yeah, as I'm going to the Diamond Casino Resort, the podium vehicle for the week is the Debauche Wagner, which, as I usually do, I'll go in details of it when I get to the Diamond Casino Resort. And then, obviously, the rest of it, I couldn't find the title as a spectator. Pretty much, you have to watch through the stream, or obviously, you can look at the Rockstar Newswire or any other sort of content out there on YouTube, of course. But yeah, I might do a vehicle review and guide on the Nagasaki Ultralight because it's free. Because that's what I do with a lot of my vehicle reviews, is if a vehicle becomes free, I will make a vehicle review and guide on it. The last time they did free vehicles, it was like 4 different vehicles. It was, the last time they did like free vehicles, there was like 4 different vehicles. But none of them had like weapons and stuff like that, so I kind of opted out against doing a vehicle review and guide on those. Plus, I don't think any of them were highly competitive options, so there wouldn't have even been much point to talk about them. Besides, just to get those reviews out the way. Because I don't know if I'm ever going to do much reviews, like, at all on, like, normal, like, civilian-ish vehicles, because they're pretty not very interesting. Unless they're very competitive. So yeah, when, like, the BF Raptor and, like, a couple of the like motorcycles and like an ATV were free. I didn't do a review on that. I thought about it but didn't, because like I mentioned, they weren't all like very useful like at all. But the ultralight at least has a purpose, obviously having like a weapon that you can put on it. So I'll probably do a review on that. However, I will discuss the ultralight, of course, as I do like normally. Ah, come on. I really got gypped off of mystery. Come on, man. And mystery can be some of the worst stuff, though, depending on what you get, though. Black baggy hoodie, whatever. But yeah, podium vehicle for the week is the Debauche Wagner, and as I usually do, I'll start talking about that vehicle. It's also on Legendary Motorsport. And as I look at one of the discounts, but that's actually a Torch Prime only discount. But yeah, I'll talk about it later. Yeah, it's from like way back in gun running with the Debauche Wagner. Actually passed it. Oh yeah, that's right, it's not gonna have a discount. I was looking for a discount for some reason. But yeah. Debauche Wagner, by getting it from the podium, you save about 1.6 mil. In fact, more like 1.5 mil with 500 at the end, of course. Or, yeah, you're saving almost 1,550,000, I mean. Plus, I'm not sure if it has a livery or anything on it. I'm not sure if it has liveries. So, if there's one on there, you could probably save another like 20,000 if you keep it as it is. But yeah. Debauche Wagner, I talk a lot about this one on like all my streams actually, because it's a really good supercar in the game still. The Debauche Wagner, before the previous DLC, I believe was the best vehicle for lap time for like around 2 years. So yeah, it's because it's been a very good vehicle for, in fact, like the best vehicle for lap time for the longest time, for pretty much like 2 years. It's still like 4th place right now, even with the like 3 Diamond Casino Resort DLC vehicles that defeated it. But yeah. I believe the 3 that are above it are the Progen Emirus, the Benefactor Krieger, and the S80RR for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. So yeah, you're getting like the 4th best vehicle in terms of lap time if you do manage to get this podium vehicle. So it's definitely a very great vehicle to have. But obviously, as I mentioned, if you have one of those other free options especially, you really don't need this vehicle. So it's not going to be a big loss if you don't get it for the podium. And it's definitely not the best in top speed. I'm pretty sure the P-Fister 811 or whatever is best for top speed. I don't know where this one is in top speed. I would imagine it's pretty average in top speed as well. But still, just the fact that it's still top 5 in lap time makes it very competitive still. Even with a couple of pretty recent options from the previous DLC defeating its placement. And for those who don't know, the Furia is not ahead of the Wagner for lap time, so the Furia is not really a good option, which was the only supercar of the latest DLC. But yeah, all in all, a very good podium vehicle this week for sure, if you do manage to get it. And it does not seem to have a livery, so I believe you only saved 1,535,000, I think it was. And yeah, before I go on any further, I will check my audio right now, make sure it's going normally. Usually it does, but very rarely it will not for some reason. Alright, good, my audio is working fine.
Listen, you guys need anybody? I'm getting the axe any day, man. I just know it. They're out for my blood.
Yeah, now I'll talk about the time trials and the premium race. Premium race and time trials. Yeah, premium race for the week, at least for now, was cutting corners for the super class. And cutting corners, from what I watched on Bruffy1322, I believe he uses like a for my headphones really interrupted me. I was going to say, like, from what I see on Bruffy1322, I believe he actually races with like a modified version of cutting corners for his lap time testing. I believe he used this exact course like years back or whatever for his lap time testing. But I believe now he uses like a modified version of cutting corners with like cones and stuff like that. So yeah, if that's anything to judge it by, it's pretty good for lap time, so you'll want to prioritize lap time when it comes to this. And I did already mention the good options for the super class. For lap time, it would be the Progen Emirus, then underneath that would be Benefactor Krieger. And you do swap those, I believe, for lap time. I mean, the Krieger's first, not top speed, I mean. Yeah, you do swap those for top speed. Meaning that the Krieger, I'm pretty sure, is first place for top speed, and then the Emirus would be second for top speed. And S80RR is third for lap time, and then Wagner fourth for lap time. From what I recall. Yeah, I would refer to Bruffy1322 for the exact placements, but I'm very positive the Wagner's like top 4 in lap time still. I mean, it's 4th place. And like I mentioned, still in top 5 as well. Okay, regular time trial. Regular time trial for the week is Elysian Island. I've never actually raced on this time trial because last week's time trial was like the final time trial from like back in 2015 for its like initial release. This is the first one of the bunch of time trials that were added with the Diamond Casino Resort, or maybe it was this current DLC they added new time trials. So I've never raced on it, but if I can see the description and see where it goes, then maybe that would be an indication of this lap time or top speed will be good to prioritize. Heights, I think it's kind of up this way, I'm not sure. Screw it. Let me go to, I don't know. Yeah, I'll be honest, I've never raced on any of those new time trials, just the old ones from back in 2015. Because time trials used to be much funner to do when you could actually use a couple of different, like, crazy options. Like the vigilante and stuff like that.
Some bad news.
Yeah, I'll go to the time trial, see where it goes. Not gonna actually race on the time trial though. I will actually probably need to change vehicles or gonna steal a random one just to see where it goes. You know what, I'll just spawn a CO vehicle. I'm not even gonna race on it, just wanting to see like where it goes is all. Oh, come on. How did I hit the top of that? There was all that airspace, and that's why my bike went. Come on. Yeah, I'll talk about the RC Bandito time trial later as well. Oh, I do usually reserve that for my RC Bandito time trial guide series. So I'll probably just say something like that or something. Because I'll probably have a guide for it whenever I feel like making that. Alright. There seems to be some kind of good straightaways on that path, so top speed could be a really good option for it, more so than lap time even. I could totally see that being the case. Especially when part of it goes on like that bridge or whatever, according to that destination, if that's the ideal path to it, that is. But yeah, I think for the motorcyclist class, the lap time and top speeds are very comparable for the top few options. Meaning that they don't really jump places between lap time and top speed as much as like the super class, for example. Yeah, as I usually say. If you're going to use any two like vehicle classes for the time trials, it's pretty much always going to be motorcycles or super class. Maybe even like the Pariah or something like that for the sports class. The sports class could be a decent option as well. But yeah, I've already listed the top few like supercar options, so I'll just talk about motorcycles here. So for motorcycles, first place for lap time and I'm pretty sure top speed as well is the Nagasaki Shotaro, which is a little under $2.5 million for the basic price, but obviously for customization it's going to be around the 3 million range. And if you don't have that on your Legendary Motorsports, you have to play and win them. You you have to actually play a match at deadline, not win in one. I believe that's the Scramjets trade price. You have to win one. For the Shotaro, I believe you have to like play a match at deadline just to get on the website. But yeah, it's totally worth doing that for sure, so you can get access to the best regular motorcycle in the game. Good thing about Shotaro, of course, is it corners really nicely. And you can also lean forward or backward with the stick with that one, whereas most vehicles you have to lean backward with the stick to get the best possible speed on a motorcycle, as if you're doing like a wheelie, or there's even a couple instances where you have to do it forward on the stick for the best possible speed. Speaking of that, second place in the like lap time and probably top speed as well is the like, trying to think of the manufacturer of it, the Hakchao Drag. But yeah, the Hakchao Drag, that one doesn't corner anywhere near as well. It's the Shotaro, unfortunately. But yeah, that one you can lean forward with the stick for the best possible speed, so you don't have to like go out your way to wheelie with it. So that could be kind of nice. I believe the only other vehicle that works like that, where you have to lean forward with the stick for the best possible speed, is the Nightblade or something like that. But I don't even think that's a competitive option, I'm pretty sure. But that's just for the sake of fun facts that I decided to mention it. And then third place and fourth place for lap time top speed, I'm pretty sure are very affordable options. By the way, Hakchao Drag is a little under $1 million, but after customizations will probably be close to $1 to $1.5 million for the Hakchao Drag. If you want a much cheaper option though, you could go for the like Body 801 for third place, or the Akuma for fourth place, which are around like $10,000 for the default motorcycle, and then customizations like 500,000 plus probably for where it will finally be. And those you have to lean backwards with the stick for third and fourth place, as if you're doing a wheelie for the best possible speed. That's pretty much everything to know about the time trial, or the regular time trial. As for the RC Bandito time trial, it's Construction Site 2. Now, I do not have a RC Bandito time trial guide just yet for Construction Site 2, but I do have a guide for the first construction site, being Construction Site 1, like a single eye, obviously. So yeah, if Construction Site 2 is anything like the first one, it could be ideal to look into my like RC Bandito time trial guide of the first one, since I don't have one for this one yet. But yeah, I would assume it plays out similarly to the first one, so as long as you know how the first one works out, and then the second one should kind of be a breeze as well. So that's pretty much it for the premium race and the time trials. Now, I believe the premium race can change a couple of times for each event week. It used to be like 3 premium races every like event week, but I don't know if they do that anymore. Yeah, now to see if there's anything else I need to go over aside for the money opportunities and the discounts. Alright, so now I'll talk about the money opportunities. Yeah, Stockpile, of course, like most adversary moves in game, there's 7 different maps. Depending on the map you play, depends on the vehicles you get to use. So if you're good with certain vehicles over others, you might want to pay attention to that for when you choose the map you want to play. And with 3 times money, or P, who knows, Stockpile might be like $100,000 if you like do it well enough. So it can be decent, But when there's 2 times money RP on the air freight cargo, which you can do in free mode along with other tasks, it kind of makes Stockpile redundant for making money for sure. But sure, it's probably a lot better in the flight school, 2 times money RP at least. But yeah, speaking about flight school you probably won't want to do unless you're doing it for your first time. Because I believe there's a first time completion bonus for every single like flight school lesson. After that, there's like a pretty much just a normal payout, I believe. So it's only really worth doing flight school if you're doing the lessons for gold medal for your first time, since I think if you get gold medals, it gets you more money. So yeah, really, flight school is probably not going to be worth it. And I would doubt that the first time, like, completion bonuses are also 2 times money RP. I'm guessing it's only, like, the standard flight school payout, not the first time, like, completion bonuses or anything. So yeah, flight school is probably not worth it. Stockpile, it's debatable if it's worth it or not. Depends how good you are at flying aircrafts and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely the best money opportunity is air freight cargo. And there's a really easy strategy with air freight cargo, I would say, for sourcing, since it is a thing you do have to source for. It's not a passive business, it's one of the active businesses of the game. So you do kind of have to go out your way to do air freight cargo. Yeah, honestly, you can probably be better off with your regular traditional grinding method over anything that's 2 times or 3 times money for sure. But yeah, what I do for air freight cargo when I source is I like to use the Akula as much as possible. Pretty much just about every source mission can be done just with an Akula. Like, there might be some where you have to use certain vehicles, but if you do have to use certain vehicles, you can just destroy the, like, vehicles provided, and you can just use your own vehicles instead. So yeah, having a Buckingham Akula is definitely very viable for the air freight cargo business. I would definitely say it's definitely worth buying one just for the air freight cargo business, honestly. Just with stealth features. It's really easy to clock the cargo in that business, just purely in stealth mode. There might not even be much times where you have to get out of stealth mode besides for like defeating enemies and stuff like that. Once you have the cargo, you're pretty much able to just go back to the hangar, of course. That's pretty much the strategy with air freight cargo when it comes to sourcing it, because you pretty much have to. Is just using a Akula. You're pretty much going to be able to use an Akula, like, no matter what the mission is, from my experience. As long as you're really good with one like I am. So yeah, air freight cargo is definitely the best money opportunity. Right behind that would be the Stockpile 137 adversary mode. And then flight school would be the worst. Because I'm definitely assuming the first time completion bonuses are not double money RP. Just a traditional payout, not any sort of first time completion bonus. But yeah, now it's pretty much just the discounts to go over now. So first property discount is going to be in the regular Dynasty Executive website. I mean, not regular Dynasty Executive. It's going to be on the regular Dynasty website, not the Executive, the regular one. And it's 50% off garage properties. So if it's an apartment and a garage, it's not on discount. It's literally only pure garages. And I think kind of the most expensive to get is probably in like the 100,000s anyways, so you're not really going to be saving much money, but obviously it's a nice little small discount going on right now. So if for some reason you don't mind not getting an apartment with your property choices, you can have a pretty good opportunity with the 50% off the garage properties, of course. That's just standalone 2, 5, and 10 car garages on this website. So cheapest one is 75,000, so 150,000. So yeah, like I said, not really much, if any, savings there, but still something. And then hangars. Obviously, as I mentioned, you do need a hangar in order to get the air freight cargo. However, I believe it's the last event week I think it was the last event week or whatever, where they did 70% off hangars, so you're actually getting 20% less than the previous event week, I think, for the hangars. It was like the 4th of July event week, whatever one that was. I think it was the last one, where you are getting 70% off, where you did get 70% off the hangar, now it's 50%, so you are getting less of a discount. However, what you are getting more of is the renovations. The renovations were not on discount at all when it comes to the previous event week or whatever, 4th of July one, whenever that was. When that happened, it was not any renovations, it was straight up property on 70% off. So if you just got a hangar last week or whenever that event was, then you can now get half off the renovations as well. But yeah, that discount's so close to like when they last did like a 70% off discount. That kind of doesn't even make it worth it right now. So yeah, probably with all the least exciting discounts out the way, I'll go into the vehicle discounts. But obviously, since it's like a pilot themed week, a lot of discounts are going to be like aircrafts. Alright, all the discounts seem to be on Elitist, Legendary, and War Stock, it seems. But yeah, as I put on the message of Spectator, Ultralight is free for the week. So as long as you get it by the like end of the event, which I believe you do have till like 1 or 2 o'clock somewhere around there on Thursday. So Thursday at 1 o'clock around there, PST time, is going to be your last opportunity to get a free ultralight for those who are curious. But yeah, the coolest thing about the ultralight is it has like a gimbal turret or whatever. But I hear they messed up the camera really bad on the ultralight. I heard it used to be really good, and I do know like what the old camera was like. I don't think I've even used it when the camera got messed up. But yeah, apparently the camera is all messed up on the gimbal turret now or whatever. Like, it doesn't give as good of a view as it did in the past for some reason. Probably because it got all bugged out or something like that, I don't know. So hopefully with it being free, people will complain about it on like the Rockstar support or something, and maybe they'll fix it, hopefully. With it being free after all. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you're only saving 500,000. And I think it's 750,000, I would imagine, on like without a trade price. So if you don't have that trade price, it could be nice to get one for free, but even normally it's really affordable. But obviously you can't really complain about a free vehicle. A free vehicle is a free vehicle. But yeah, best thing about it is that was a gimbal turret. Well, actually, that's not really the best thing about it. It is one of the couple stealth aircrafts. As I mentioned, there is the Akula, which is much better at stealth capabilities than the Ultralight. But I believe if you put the most expensive propeller on the Ultralight, it allows you to go stealth if you're going really slow with it. Like if you're not even holding the accelerator, or at most like barely holding the accelerator with the most expensive propeller, I believe it makes you stealth. So it could be a cheap stealth option, which could be good for air freight cargo, like I mentioned, and other businesses, but you're much better off just getting an Akula for the stealth capabilities. So really, you're only going to want this most likely if you're like a weaponized vehicle collector, like I am. So it's not really that worth getting even for free, but yeah, it's nice, of course. Might as well get one now, if any time at all. But yeah, for Twitch Prime, this is one of 2 vehicle discounts for the moment. I believe it's 85% off right now, and it's the Overflawed Morgan from this current DLC. But yeah, Overflawed Morgan being 85% off for Twitch Prime only. Instead of being a little over $2 million, it makes it like under $500,000. Which is definitely very good indeed. A little under 350,000 even, so very affordable, no doubt. But yeah, I believe there's something really good about the Overflawed Morgan. I believe I hear it's like the first proper electric vehicle in this game or something, or it's the most detailed electric vehicle, something like that in the game. So yeah, a lot of electric vehicles are kind of poorly detailed in a sense, or at least ones from very early in the game, back in like 2013, stuff like that, like the Rocket Voltic. So yeah, I talked more about the Overflawed Morgan on the stream it came out with, or whatever like event week that was for the Overflawed Morgan when it came out. I did talk in good detail about that. But it's like the first proper hybrid or electric car or whatever in the game, from what I remember. But yeah, it was a while since I've heard of that information, so it's probably not the most accurate. But yeah, the good thing about electric vehicles is the acceleration. Acceleration is basically what you're getting when you get an electric vehicle. So if you're getting this vehicle, it's for acceleration, which obviously lets it reach its top speed faster than other vehicles. That's basically the best thing for much of any electric vehicle. So if you like gain a top speed really fast, it could be a pretty okay point A to point B option. But yeah, I would prefer a Bruffy 1322 for opinions on the Overflawed Morgan, because obviously it's a civilian vehicle and there's not much opinions to give on it aside for like personal preference kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely now is the time to get it for people with Twitch Prime like myself. So might as well. And for the couple of other discounts, which is for people with and without Twitch Prime, is the Progen T20. The Progen T20 is a 30% off discount. Since of 2.2 mil, it's almost $1,550,000, which kind of puts it around the price of the Debauchee Wagner, as I went over earlier. So that's definitely kind of nice. However, of course, like most vehicles, it's fell very down the ranks when it comes to lap time and top speed as new additions got added on. Just like a supercar from back in 2015, so obviously a lot more like supercars came out, obviously, so... And yeah, I don't think it's really one that stood the test of time well. It sure stood the test of time better than the Osiris, I would say, which will be the next discount I discuss, but yeah. Not really necessarily worth getting. Best thing about the T20, to be honest, is I believe it was the first supercar or vehicle in the game to have the dynamic spoiler, which is the spoiler that like pops up, of course, depending on your like speed and whatnot. So yeah, depending on your speed and whatnot, the spoiler will be at a certain position, which is pretty cool. That's the fun part about its dynamic spoiler. So it has that going for it, is that it has a dynamic spoiler. besides for that, there's not much to write home about it anymore, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, as it got outclassed by other options. And yeah, that's kind of a bad thing as well, the dynamic spoiler, because if your vehicle gets damaged too much, your spoiler will not work and you'll have to respawn. So it could really impact you in a race if you're not careful with the T20 with its dynamic spoiler. Because yeah, if it gets too damaged, it will lose the dynamic spoiler's functionality till you respawn. That's something you definitely want to keep in mind if you race with that, if you do get the T20. And yeah, the Picasso Osiris is basically the supercar that came like right before the T20, so when the T20 came out, it basically became obsolete, like right as it came out. And T20 was like the new best option. And yeah, this one has like gullwing doors, I'm pretty sure, so that's kind of a cool little like cosmetic feature with it, just like the dynamic spoiler. So that one actually has more of an game impact. So yeah, once again, this one fell down the ranks, of course, with like more recent supercars and stuff like that, obviously within the past like half a decade. But yeah, now I want to make sure I covered all the legendary motorsport discounts. But yeah, for these civilian-ish vehicles, I would refer to Bruffy 1322. He does really informative like videos on lap time and top speeds of every single vehicle in the game, just about. When I talk about these vehicles, I try to just talk about the main like features they have, of course, if much of any. Besides for that, it's pretty much all personal preference stuff, realistically. And as for the hijack chameleon, it's not actually on discount, it's just glitched up at the moment. Also, I will make sure I didn't miss any on Elitist. Yeah, I'll make sure I didn't miss one on Elitist really quick. Dodo's not actually on discount, it's just glitched up at the moment. So no, only discount, it's the free ultralight on Elitist. Alright, so all the rest of the discounts should be on Warstock then. But yeah, starting off here is that it costs a scramjet. By the way, the Osiris is also 30% off, since I did not mention that one. But yeah, scramjet is 30% off as well. So instead of being almost 3.5 mil on a trade price, it's almost 2.5 mil on a trade price. And obviously it will be more expensive if you don't have the trade price. And the way you get the trade price is like winning a match of Hunting Pack Remix or whatever, which is one of the other adversary modes in the game. So that's how you get that trade price. But yeah, is this vehicle worth getting? I would say this vehicle is absolutely worth getting, to be honest. You might not get a lot of use out of it, but if you do get any use out of it, it's worth it any time you do get use out of it. This vehicle has a rocket boost, which there are other vehicles that have rocket boosts. But the thing this rocket boost vehicle has that others do not is a jump boost as well. So you can have a rocket and a jump boost on this vehicle, which gives it some pretty good potential for getting from point A to point B, which definitely could make it one of the best options for point A to point B travel for sure. But obviously, you can just easily use the Oppressor Mark II as your point A to point B vehicle option, so if you are getting it for point A to point B travel, I really wouldn't go for that. I would go more for its weapon capabilities. And obviously this is a really cool reference vehicle here. I believe it's based on like a speed racer vehicle. But yeah, for weaponry it has machine guns, which I don't think they're very terrible machine guns compared to other vehicles, which have some pretty terrible machine guns. But yeah, I'm sure they're decent machine guns, but because they're not explosive, obviously they're not going to have very much potential. And then for other weaponry, of course, it has 30 of the best tracking homing missiles in the game, similar to like the Deluxo, for example. Deluxo and Stromberg have some of the most accurate homing missiles, just like this thing does. So yeah, because it's one of the vehicles with some of the best tracking homing missiles in the game alone, that makes it very worth getting. And like, of all the vehicles with the best tracking homing missiles, it's probably the best one from getting to point A to point B. So yeah, this definitely could be a pretty good option for making money. Yeah, it could be a good option for making money, but it's not anywhere near the best option for making money for sure. There's definitely better options for making money. Next on discounts for his website is the FH1 Hunter. So the FH1 Hunter is a 40% off discount. And yeah, FH1 Hunter has pretty good explosive resistance, I'm pretty sure. The FH1 Hunter absolutely sucks when it comes to gunfire though, so that includes explosive sniper rounds. So if it does get shot by one explosive sniper round, yeah, it will not get destroyed. It will take a while for an explosive sniper to destroy an FH1 Hunter. But even if an explosive sniper round hits like one time, you're basically going to disable the engine within a couple minutes. It's not really good for bullet protection, but it's pretty good for explosive protection for sure. And yeah, this vehicle has unlimited homing missiles, and it also has barrage missiles. In fact, I believe it was the first vehicle in the game to have the barrage missiles, and with it being a helicopter, it's a really good option. I would say it's even the best vehicle for having the barrage missiles. I prefer this over the Kula and the Strike Force for sure for the barrage missiles. Strike Force, since it's a plane, of course, could have like different potential with its barrage missiles than a helicopter could. But it's definitely better with the barrage missiles than the Akula, because you have to choose between homing or barrage missiles. With the Akula, you can't have both, like with this vehicle. And this vehicle is pretty cool as well, because it comes with all the weaponry, I believe, besides for bombs. Bombs are the only weaponry you have to add, so once you buy this vehicle, it's pretty much almost completely set to go for its weapon capabilities. Whereas a lot of vehicles in the game, obviously, you have to like buy every little like weapon and all that stuff. Or at least most of the weapons. Whereas this one, there's only like one weapon option you even have to buy. So this one you can almost get like completely done right out the gate for like its capabilities. And yeah, it has an explosive cannon. However, it does require a passenger in order to use it, sadly. Which is not really faithful to its like 3D era like appearances and like Vice City and whatnot. And but that didn't have an explosive cannon, so I guess I can see why they changed it to a passenger gun. But yeah, it has very good weapon capabilities and can be a very good option for grinding like businesses and VIP works. Pretty much anything this vehicle will do really well. So it can be one of the best like grinding vehicles in the game in a bunch of circumstances for sure. Especially with all its weapon variety and whatnot. I would highly recommend this one for sure. More so than even the Scramjet. I'd recommend another vehicle with the best tracking missiles personally. But still a good one, as I mentioned earlier. And yeah, this one with the trade price, as with other smuggler run vehicles, you have to get like a certain amount of cell missions for the hangar in order to get that trade price. Alright, RM-10 Bomb Bushka. And if I didn't say FH1 Hunter is 40% off, but I think I did say that. But yeah, RM10 Bombashka is another 40% off discount. I believe this one was like half off though, like a week or two or whatever ago. Like I mentioned with the 4th of July event, so you're technically getting a lesser discount, but if you didn't take advantage of it then, now you have another opportunity. Albeit at a lesser discount. And yeah, as I said before, the RM10 Bombashka is absolutely a horrible vehicle. It's not very good anymore, honestly. It used to be pretty okay at a certain degree, but now they made this vehicle very useless, to be honest. But yeah, obviously, as you can tell by the looks, it's really slow. In fact, the only time it's like ever fast at all is with the like Jado Thrust or whatever. And yeah, it's a really big target, obviously being really big and whatnot. And yeah, it does not really have any explosive resistance, so free explosive sniper rounds, you're done, and then like, I believe a single homing launcher and a RPG. I don't think it has more resistance to like a homing launcher, for example, compared to a regular RPG. You're pretty much dead in a single like homing launcher as well. So the explosive resistance isn't really there. I believe I actually heard of something interesting actually. I believe if you do or don't have a certain customization, I think you're like protected from like, I believe you're protected from like bullets in the front or whatever though, if you do or don't have a certain upgrade. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah. Actually, I think the reason like you're not like able to be damaged from the front or whatever is something with like the fact that you can no longer put like vehicles in the back or something like that. But yeah. You used to be able to put vehicles in the back of the Bombushka. You still can, but it's a real big pain in the ass to set up the RM10 Bombushka to put vehicles in the back. Because you have to like sacrifice putting, like taking off a lot of upgrades. You have to sacrifice taking off a lot of upgrades just to put a vehicle in the back. Since Rockstar patched it in a way, but it can still be like, it can still have the ability to put vehicles in the back, but for some reason they weren't fully able to patch it or whatever. And you have to like work around it to get that functionality back, which is really annoying. They should personally just let you put vehicles in the back like they used to. But yeah, I guess they didn't like people like using it for the post-op stealth missions to get those going faster than usual. But yeah, people would use these for post-op stealth missions and it was actually really helpful back then. Now it's not so much unless you have it set up properly so it can do it again. But yeah, for weapons, this thing has free explosive cannons, which is quite nice. If you have like a group of like 4 or whatever, including yourself. So yeah, it can be really good, of course, if you have a group. But like I mentioned, it's a really big target, so free explosive sniper rounds and you're basically done. So yeah, there's a lot better options when it comes to explosive cannons. And going back to the Hunter, how that has an explosive cannon, that's kind of redundant, considering the fact that the Hydra, Laser, and Savage have explosive cannons, which are even better than those explosive cannons, I think, and they can also be controlled by the pilot. But yeah, this thing's a really big target, and its weaponry doesn't really help it simply because it's a really big target and has no explosive resistance aside for explosive sniper rounds. So really, this vehicle is not even going to do you good at all unless you're doing certain like cell missions if you set the vehicle up properly. If you like exclude a bunch of key upgrades, I believe. Not sure exactly what upgrades you can't have and where to open the back and be able to put a vehicle in there. But I'm sure there's videos out there, of course, explaining what to do to get that functionality back. So yeah, I would say this one's not really worth it at all, personally. It's just a big waste of money. But obviously, it's better getting at a discounted price than not. But yeah, LF-22 Starling. This one's not one I actually have, so I don't entirely know if this one's worth it or not. But I watched Gilly Master, and he, like, really shows off really well how good the Starling is. But yeah, the Starling is a really interesting aircraft in that it has a really small propeller, and you pretty much mainly have to rely on the like rocket boost in order to like get in there. But if you use that ability property, if you use the rocket boost like properly and glide really well with this vehicle, that's quite great potential for sure. Like you can save the rocket boost, of course, later on, and you can use it to dodge like missiles in certain situations and stuff like that, I'm sure. So it has a lot of potential in that regard. But yeah, this probably has like regular machine guns. I doubt it has explosive machine guns, so in that department it's not really good. And then it has like homing missiles as well. And I'm sure they have no cooldown and you can spam them. But still, a bunch of other vehicles have missiles that you can spam as well. So yeah, it's really mainly just for having fun, and it could be a really good point A to point B option if you're really good at piloting the LF-22 Starling. So yeah, that one's gonna be pretty alright. At least it's better than the Bombichka for sure. But yeah, the Rogue. Also, LF-22 Starling is 40% off, and the Rogue is 40% off as well. So yeah, the Rogue, instead of being 1.2 million at a trade price, is 720,000 right now. So it makes it under a million, which is really nice. However, there are some pretty big downsides if it's like lesser price, of course. One is you cannot spam the missiles. Missiles cannot be spammed, so they're like buzzard missiles where you have 2-second cooldown or whatever after using like 2 missiles. However, honestly, I would mainly get this vehicle for the machine guns, honestly. Because this is one of the couple of vehicles from the Smuggler's Run DLC that has like explosive cannons or whatever. They're not good explosive cannons like the Hydra, Laser, and Savage. They're not that good. But there's one on each wing, of course, so in that regard it's kind of better, because all those other vehicles I mentioned is like right in the center, so in some ways it could be better having one on each wing. But yeah, even then, I think there's like a slower rate of fire on them as well, because it's a very affordable vehicle. But yeah, just the fact it has explosive cannons gives it quite great potential, to be honest, so especially for this great of a price, I would definitely get one. And I think that's pretty much all to mention about the weaponry. And yeah, I could probably have bombs maybe, I'm not sure. But still, bombs are pretty much just as good on any kind of like vehicle, and plus bombs are mainly helpful for helicopters over planes, I would say. Alright, and then for the last Twitch Prime discount for this week, or for the next couple weeks even, it might go for 2 or 3 weeks for the Twitch Prime discounts, I'm not sure. But yeah, the APC is 85% off right now, making it under 350,000, just like the Immorgon, which is quite nice. So yeah, this has a 85% off discount right now for Twitch Prime only, which is quite exciting. And yeah, this was also a discount, I believe, a couple weeks ago or whatever, for like 50% off, and now it's for everyone. But for those with Twitch Prime, you're getting a better deal on this vehicle now if you didn't want to get it last week. But yeah, recap on APC. For the turret, you can get the regular turret that comes stock here, or you can get a SAM battery with like 60 non-lock-on missiles. Yeah, that's the bad thing about the SAM turret, is it doesn't have lock-on missiles, so when you do that, you are sacrificing like the infinite ammo of the like stock cannon for missiles that don't need to lock on, so do keep that in mind. But yeah, this is a retro vehicle from the body Tony, that episodic content or whatever from GTA 4 or whatever, that story mode DLC thing. But yeah, compared to body Tony, the like explosive cannon has a really slow rate of fire, I believe, and it also has to be controlled from the passenger seat, whereas you could use it in the driver's seat in that game. So yeah, you do have to use this with the passenger seat, which sucks. So yeah, it does really ruin the potential with APC. But for a driver weapon, it has proximity mines, which can be quite good, of course, for sure, but there's lots of vehicles that have proximity mines, so it's not really much of a reason to get one, to be honest. And then the back passenger seats actually have machine guns, if you noticed, like, where the mouse is over here. However, the machine guns definitely look like they have really limited angles, and they're just straight up, like, regular machine guns, so they're probably some of the worst, if not, like, the worst machine guns in the game back there. So yeah, really for weapon capabilities, since you have to use the passenger seat for this thing, you're probably not going to want to get APC. It's probably not going to be very helpful in most circumstances for solo play. Yeah, obviously if you have a passenger for the front passenger seat, obviously it will be a lot better. And obviously this thing's quite a tank, of course, so it has quite good explosive resistance. That's something good about it. Honestly, probably the thing most worth getting for this, to be honest, is the fact that it's amphibious, meaning it can be good for certain, like, not underwater, but for certain water sourcing missions or something like that. For example, there's the CO cargo cell mission, not cell mission, but the CO cargo source mission, where there's, like, the free boats or whatever, and you have to collect, like, free packages in the water. But even then, you're better off using something like a Sea Sparrow, which can fly as well as land on the water. So even then, it's pretty redundant in that case. So honestly, you're really probably not going to be making money with APC, so I highly would not recommend that one. But still, at least it's better than an RM-10 Mambushka. But yeah, Insurgent Pickup's not actually on discount, just glitched up at the moment. And then, yeah, Rocket Voltic. The Rocket Voltic's a 30% off discount, so instead of like being in the high 2 mil range, it's in the low 2 mil range. So you're saving about $1 million on it, which is quite nice and great. That's definitely totally very nice to be getting that bullshit right now. Like, actually. But yeah. Best thing about the Rocket Voltic's gonna be the VIP work you unlock. So yeah, getting a Rocket Voltic will unlock the Velocity VIP work, which is actually one of the better VIP works in the game, believe it or not. Like, yeah, default has like a 10 or 15 minute like time limit or whatever to it for the Velocity VIP work. But yeah, if you just stick on the highways for 10 or 15 minutes, you'll be just fine with the Velocity VIP work, and you'll probably get really good at it. So that can be a pretty consistent, like, 70k on double money events for the VIP work, which happens semi-often, or like on kind of rare occasion. So it's definitely a very good vehicle to get for double money RP on VIP works for sure. And even on normal money, it's pretty decent as well. It can get you 35,000 per like 10 to 15 minutes. And on the VIP work, you can like lower the time as well by collecting like air checkpoints as well. But I think that does require other people in the organization, so it's mainly going to be good doing that VIP work with like friends and whatnot. But it's a very good solo VIP work as well. I've shown off really well before that it is really good paying and whatnot for the Velocity VIP work. Also, something really good you can get with the Rocket Voltic is you can use a custom version on Rocket Voltic races, special vehicle races for the Rocket Voltic. Of course, you can use the custom version. Obviously, it'll give you an edge over other people whenever those are on double money or anything like that. So there's quite a couple of things that will benefit very nicely for sure by getting a Rocket Voltic compared to other vehicles that only it can do. But yeah, it's the very first rocket-powered vehicle in the game, and it doesn't have any weapons though. So yeah, you're better off with other rocket-powered vehicles such as the scramjet mentioned earlier, obviously. That's definitely better for rocket-powered vehicles for sure. But yeah, I would definitely get one for sure, just for the VIP work, to be completely honest. It's such a good VIP work, even if you do have to do the full 10 to 15 minutes. definitely very good for sure for low money RP VIP works. And actually, I'll go check the bottom of the site and make sure I went over everything. And then Buzzard's not actually on discount, it's just switched up at the moment. Alright, now making sure I went over all the discounts before I end the stream. Alright, yes, I have went over every single discount for regular and Twitch Prime discounts. So that's finally going to be it for the stream. Hope you enjoyed.